I want to know what level of panic hits Riley's brain when he hears suggestions like that.
I think it depends on how much he's been scooping seed that day.
Yeah, it's like
I think it probably more depends on how many bills he's been paying that day.
That's fair.
make $1,000, spend $1,000. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. A wave of panic washes over me when Nicholas texts me and says, "Hey, how much money is left on the credit card?" That's peak anxiety right there.
Well,
You know the man's he's about to crash the old
what does
bank.
Nick usually buy? What comes through on the old credit card?
Oh, it's never
I'm
one
gonna
thing.
guess it's mainly new AI subscriptions.
No, those are cheap enough that it doesn't. It's usually like saw a new ice cream machine at Home Depot. I was thinking about putting in the office, you know.
the company credit card, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
You know, I got that credit card. I was pretty new here. I was probably only here a couple months. I didn't spend a penny for months and months. I was too scared. And every time I'd want to do like a marketing idea, it'd be like $250. I don't know, man. I don't know if we can spend this marketing idea. And now it's like, just our marketing budget as a whole over the year is like, would have made me crap my pants when I first started. You know what I mean?
Ballooned.
It is a little business advice for anyone. Every penny you can spend on marketing is probably worth it. Is probably the way to go. I remember my mom with Apples of Gold, and because Apples of Gold, it's like a tutoring center for people, and she does it all across the state, the country now, because they do a lot of virtual tutoring. She specialized with people in dyslexia, and she went around for years. It was just her. She was the only tutor, and she did one of two things for years. I remember that she was a single mom, and she would either tutor kids, sometimes in our house, and she would go around and tell people that she tutored kids. She had no money for like newspaper ads or anything. She would like go to Rotary clubs. She would like hand out cards at Walmart just for years. And now it's like there's a waiting list, and she can't even keep up. But and they have a whole slew of teachers and tutors on the team. But highly recommend. So, and Kent also, he doesn't talk about this much. Brilliant marketing idea guy. Now, if you said like, okay, well, now
do the computer work to make it happen, then I'd fall asleep.
But the ideas, I mean,
I'm an idea man.
Dude, good idea. You can't pay enough for good ideas. You know what I mean? Oh, we got a lot to talk about today.
I'm open though to find out if you can pay enough for good ideas. I'm open to testing that.
Yeah, it's not an experiment I'm shooting for. All right, we should jump in, get started. Coffee Time Wednesdays with the Prairie Farm Podcast.
Can't hit us with the jingle.
If you're thinking about cover crop for your land or your landlord's land or something that you might be managing, you've got to check out Iowa Cover Crop. We have worked with them many a times personally, and even though they're a small company, they are as efficient as any of the big companies that we've worked with. They do a fantastic job and also super educated. Those poor guys, we have pestered them with more ignorant questions than maybe any other company we've ever worked with on anything, and they answer really well and very promptly. We really appreciate them. If you're looking for cover crop, check out iowacovercrop.com. You're not going to regret it, and let them know that the Prairie Farm Podcast sent you their way. Welcome back to the Prairie Farm Podcast. I'm your favorite host, Nicholas Lirio, with your favorite co-host, Kent Boucher.
Hey.
Ken, what are you working on today?
Cleaned a little Illinois tick trefoil.
Nice.
Speaking of the flat chain breaking tool that Riley and I had to use last summer.
What
first documented humans to use that tool since the
Civil War?
Since the who was in office before Kennedy?
Oh man, who was it?
Was it Eisenhower?
Hoover?
Maybe.
No, Hoover would have been 15 years
Truman?
before.
No, whoa.
Truman was World War II.
Yeah,
he came in after FDR. I kind of wonder if it was Eisenhower, because Kennedy died in 1963, so he would have been elected in like 61-ish maybe.
Yeah, because Eisenhower was right after World War
60, something like
was
that.
2 terms after World War II.
Yeah, I think it was Truman, Eisenhower, and then Kennedy.
Well, you're here to learn about prairie things and U.S. history, and I'm glad because we're
not
your
best guest U.S. history.
Yeah. Your mug might pick up the
camera
focus. Yeah. And the coast, Riley Rosendahl.
Howdy, howdy.
Awesome. Well, I got to give a little shout out to a man named Dylan in Knoxville, Iowa, because he started a nonprofit that brings us our topic today. The nonprofit started with another lady that would prefer to stay behind the scenes. They take historical houses medium historical houses in Knoxville and they finish them. If a house
what does medium historical mean?
So if a house is 200 years old, there's a lot of grant money for it. And there's a lot of investment in those places. And we have some of those in Knoxville, and they're really cool. But like tons of resources go to those. If a house is new, if it's a new build or something of the sort, there's a lot of resources that go to that. Grant money or whatever, loans, whatever you want to put towards it. But it's those like 100-year-old houses that it's like, well, I mean, they're old, but like, and he went in and he actually went to this big conference, if I'm remembering correctly, and they said one of the best things you can do for medium to small towns is revitalize the oldest part of the town. Like pick the oldest part of the town and put a bunch of resources into it. And I went in, he and I were hanging out, and he gave me a tour of one of the houses, and they just don't make them like they used to, dude. I like was emotional. I didn't cry, but I could have. It was beautiful.
You ever see those reels like, this is what an $850,000 house will get you, and they show like all the gaps in the trim and the leaky windows and
it was astounding. I mean, there was brick and there was like wood molding everywhere, and it was just really, and they let wood be wood colored, which I think is cool.
They didn't paint it white?
Yeah, or like baby blue.
Well, just like even down to the grain count, the dimensional lumber instead of the nominal lumber. And not only that, but aren't houses now 2x4 construction, whereas they used to be 2x6 construction? And it's a nominal 2x4 construction now, whereas it was a dimensional 2x6.
Yeah, so literally half the size.
With maybe 20 grain count lumber or something like that, whereas now it's like, sub 10.
I think it's interesting because it's like, well, I don't want to just go back to hacking away the forests.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to be said about making something to last, even if it's more expensive.
Absolutely.
I think there's just something about it. Oh man, guys, redoing the floor at our coffee shop is going to be so expensive.
Why'd you do the math that I said?
All right, so I talked to the contractor. Kent was saying just do like a linoleum rollout floor, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's a really good option. They call it vinyl sheeting, I guess now."
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's great option. That's still going to be expensive because of how wonked your floors are. Because think about like hills." When you're mowing, hills create uneven lines.
Yeah.
Well, this is a perfectly flat sheet. So he's like, on the edges, you got to do a bunch of work to pull it in so that like the crevices and the mounds end up looking straight. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know. Anyway, we don't have to get into it.
You're fixing to spend way too much money on your floor.
I don't know. I just don't know what's right. I don't know what's good.
Not that option.
I just don't know the other option. The other option is like we do it ourselves and it only lasts 3 years again.
I don't know. I think you just go get that vinyl sheeting. Go to old Menards, not a sponsor. And
could be.
Yeah, could be.
Could be a sponsor.
I used to work at Menards.
Really?
Yeah, for like 4 months.
Oh yeah, you did tell me
right after I was first married.
Because John Menards is your hero, right? Something about him burning all of his trash.
No, don't say anything incriminating. No, I there's a lot that I respect about John Menard. One of the best things I learned while working at Menards is literally everything in that store is for sale. If you wanted to buy the computer that the person in the vinyl sheeting area is looking up a special order for you, your job, if you were like a department manager, your job is to come up with a price for that computer and sell that computer to the person wanting to buy it. You want to buy the shopping cart, you want to buy the store, you want to buy the shelving, everything's for sale.
Interesting.
And I've gone to other places, competitors, not as an employee, but like, hey, I really need this thing, but all I see is the model here. Oh, sorry, we need that for display. It's like, man, John Menard would like fire you on the spot for not taking the sale.
Everyone else has their dad on their shoulder telling them what to do. Kent's got John Menard.
I just think it's like that is how business should should be done, right? The whole reason you're there is to sell a product. So sell we shall.
Well, so I was hanging out with Dylan. We were looking at these houses, and we started talking about trees on the streets. And he starts going off, oh, yeah, there were these studies done on this. Because his whole thing is community development. So he's looked into every avenue of what makes communities better. And he started saying things. I was like, that's kind of unbelievable that trees are correlated to that. So get this. Dr. Kathleen Wolfe, 2006, did 2 different studies. One of them came up with that people speed less and have less accidents when there's a lot of trees around. Yeah. The other one that she did, this one was really interesting. People are willing to spend more money for the same product if there's a lot of trees around when they're buying it. Isn't that interesting?
Because it puts them in just like a better mood in general.
She had a theory, but these are all correlations, right? So, they're willing to pay 10% more on average for products sold in a business district with high quality urban forests around. Oh, and I should mention that the trees need to be alive for them to have this effect on humans. Mental health and mood connection was done by Clemson University and the USDA just last year, 2025, and they came up with depression dropped in let's see, I want to get this right, in neighborhoods with high percentage of tree canopy cover. So they're measuring exactly how much sun was actually getting through, how much of the canopy was covered, by 31%, a third.
Wow,
crazy.
Depression dropped by a third if they had a lot of tree cover, which, I mean, you see those reels of people, oh, I live in this cabin in this forest, I built it with my own hands, and it's like so romantic and calming, and your stress seems to go away, and you go, wow, I want that. And I wonder if it's ingrained in us because trees created a cool sensation or protected us from all sorts of things outside, and so our bodies literally went, I am less stressed because I'm around this
think of like
source of life.
When people are usually the worst mood, right? It's cabin fever during the winter, but more than that is when it's those just scorching hot days of the summer, super humid. And you go back like, a couple hundred years, your only way of getting away from that is either to go get into a body of water and no work can be done. Like your work is swimming, or you can find some shade and you could, do some kind of like fixing on equipment or sewing or writing, reading. Yeah. There's productive things that you could do. And that was it. There was no other way to get cool,
Man.
I guess you could find like a glacier or something. Yeah. Or a cave. Yeah.
Well, and even like trees probably meant food was nearby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's all sorts of things that trees indicated to our bodies that now today apparently mean we'll spend more money. But I love, my runs are way better under canopies.
Yeah.
We've all been there to a suburban town that was built in 16 months and there's no trees anywhere because they had dredged the whole area, and now maybe there's a few trees that people planted in their yards.
New cul-de-sac neighborhoods.
Oh, dude, I feel the stress
under the magnifying
just
glass
imagining
of the sun.
Yeah. Well, the cement seems. Oh, and roads last a lot longer. That was another thing that came up, is because the sun's not baking on them. Now we're talking about a fairy tale here that is somewhat true, but also trees cause a lot of issues, right? Mm-hmm. Mostly monetarily. Occasionally, you've got like real infrastructure issues where they hit a water line or something like that.
Riley's mic's doing a lot of wobbling, and I'm worried that's irritating the listeners. There it goes.
Oh yeah. Sorry guys if Riley's
Nick's getting so excited.
I'm bouncing up and down like Tigger. I only had 1 cup of coffee this morning, a normal amount. So don't
you hate how it does that? Don't you just hate it?
All right.
There we go.
There, now she's nice and tight. Not going anywhere. Right.
So the thing with trees, though, the last one that I really liked was that crime goes down if there's a lot of trees around, live trees. Yep. There was a study done in Baltimore by the U.S. Forest Service and the University of Vermont.
I thought you were going to say it was done by buytrees.com or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like, okay, are these actually published studies, or are they just like, I feel happier around trees, I'll write a blog about it. You know what I mean? No, That's true. Having
Wow,
trees around
that's,
really
that's,
helps.
that's really interesting information.
Yeah. And you know what? Danielle and I have torn down 3 trees on property that we own. And actually, after reading some of this stuff and talking with Dylan, my wife and I this weekend were like planning out where we were going to put new trees on, because it does make sense to sometimes tear down trees, but we are too trigger happy with it. And we don't understand all the value it's giving us, to have the trees.
Too trigger happy with building new houses and too trigger happy with cutting down old trees.
Oh yeah.
Well, and if you have to, I mean, obviously there's circumstances like a tree splitting or a tree that's been dying for years. I mean, I cut down like 2 or 3 that were. I know. Sorry,
you are the one slayer.
You're a bad person.
But if you replace them, or you've got healthier trees as a result, there's still some room for growth there.
Yeah. And even like walking around Knoxville, a lot of people have the like little squirrel shelves right outside their window so they can see it, like do some squirrel watching, which I think squirrels are way more interesting to watch than birds, but I don't know. It's
false.
Me being biased.
Yeah, I'd rather watch birds.
Oh man,
they fly.
Yeah, but squirrels are
vibrant colors and they sing.
Okay, that's fine.
Squirrels just cuss you out from the highest.
Listen, this is what it is. Birds are going to the opera. Squirrels are watching someone on stream tweak out as they're doing something wild, like counting to 10 billion.
Yeah. I mean, squirrels are cool and all, but I'd still rather watch all the different birds.
You'll understand when you hit 30 years old.
Yeah.
That's an acquired skill right there.
My dad and I visited my brother's property this weekend. And he has like 50 some acres of basically just straight up forest, and both of us were standing there with our Merlin apps without saying anything to the other person. Like we were hearing all these birds call, and next thing I already got my app going, and next thing I hear is my dad going on to my brother Jake about how many birds he's already heard here. And I'm like, oh, we're both doing it. We're both geezers.
Yeah.
Is Jake 30 yet?
He just turned 32 this last weekend.
Okay. All right. I saw it was a birthday, but him and his wife have like a joint account, so I didn't know which one it was.
I make fun of him for that joint account all the time. Go ahead and just trash joint accounts right now.
Well, listen, there were a few couples in high school who did joint accounts. And that didn't work out.
In high school?
In high school.
Oh,
yeah, that didn't work out too well. One of my least favorite things in the whole world is dealing with red tape, paperwork, and bureaucracy. And at the very top of those things, insurance. I used to have, big company insurance because I thought me doing all the stuff online or with a robot phone call would be cheaper. Boy, was I wrong. My wife and I switched to McKay Insurance for everything personal and business that we interact with. And not only do we save over $1,000 a year, yes, $1,000 a year, we get to interact with real people. No longer having to deal with those robot phone calls, the terrible online interface. I mean, what is with those 1980 online interfaces? Well, we personally work with McKay Insurance. I can personally stamp my approval on working with them. I've worked with 5 different people from there. Every single one of them was incredible. And they give you big customer efficiency and pricing, if not better, with a very small company feel. They really take care of you. Highly recommend McKayINSagency.com. That's McKayINS agency.com. You won't regret it. All right. So the next one's probably the reason you even clicked on this thing to begin with. A high-level study that was published in Nature Medicine, right? So think Mayo Clinic level of publishing. Just April 21st, 2026, talking about a cancer study. Now, before we get into this, I need Kent to explain a little bit epigenetics for anyone who doesn't know. The difference between DNA and epigenetics and how they work together. Kent?
Yeah, so go ahead and get yourself a notebook and a cup of coffee.
We'll send you a quiz later.
Clear your schedule for about 6 hours, and we're going to talk about how protein synthesis happens. But I guess a few foundational things you need to understand is living things contain DNA, and DNA is essentially our instruction manual for how we're made. And from DNA, we get to a level called proteins, and proteins are the most diverse, most, widest use of utility molecule that we're made out of. And so these proteins then make tissues, proteins make cells, cells make tissues, tissues make organs, organs work together with other organs for organ systems, and then you have an organism, right?
So the DNA is saying which proteins do what.
Right. And the proteins make up all those things that then make us functional. And so not all of our DNA is used. We have sections of DNA that, in fact, a term that used to be used a lot was junk DNA. It's not necessary. It's not useful to coding for a protein that makes us up, right? Or not just us, other organisms. But new science in the world of genetics has started to look at those sections of DNA that don't get tapped for use. And they're finding out that under certain conditions, whether it be a certain maybe hormone introduced to the body, or another protein that you wouldn't normally have in your system, or some other chemical factor, which we get from the environment around us, or we get from our diet, or we get from accidental poisoning maybe, or whatever, right? There's different ways that those new variables get introduced to the organism, and they can activate some of the, I believe, if I remember correctly, they were called introns, sections of DNA that weren't being used for protein synthesis. And so then the idea is, well, maybe that could be bad, but what if it's good? And so there's some, I don't see as much of it as I did 5 years ago, but I'm also not paying attention to it as much as I was 5 years ago, where people try to market that, hey, take my supplement, it'll your DNA has more potential than you ever knew, type of thing, right? And so there's people that view it that way, but also it can be possibly a negative thing, like a bad environmental factor that could introduce new problems for an organism.
It would turn on, you're saying, the environmental factors, whether it's nutrients or whatever they're taking, or maybe it's an external thing, could turn on certain DNA that wasn't previously turned on, that could cause harm to the body.
Cause it to code, yeah. Not necessarily turn it on. It's always there. It's just it doesn't have the right RNA codon or anticodon to make the protein from that DNA. There's this new introduced thing, and I feel really nervous talking about this right now because it's been so long since I studied it, and I could get a whole lot of hatred for not talking about it the right way. But where was I going there? Introns being coded. So the idea is, I know what I was going to say. We naturally end up with mutations. Our DNA gets damaged as we age. In fact, essentially the signs of aging are the cumulative effects of misreplicated DNA. Our hair starts to fall out, turn gray. We get wrinkles, and we get, organ failure eventually. Different.
Start saying things like whelp.
not related to DNA.
Oh, okay. I figured.
But there's and people develop disorders later in life too. And so there are actual problems that end up happening naturally, right? Natural part of the death process, but. We also can be exposed, like I said, to environmental factors that can damage our DNA. Things like radiation. That obviously causes very, very rapid problems. Think of if you read on some of the poor people who had to suffer the consequences from the atomic bombs in the 1940s, and their hair falling out, fingernails falling off, terrible not burns directly from the radiation, but their body behaved like they had burns because your skin cells replicate so quickly that now that your DNA that helps them replicate correctly is damaged, they can't repair themselves like normal, right? It's normal for us to shed all kinds of skin cells every day, but we have a normal process of replacing them. But because the DNA is damaged, or think of like the lining to your digestive tract, all these different things, right? It's tied into our DNA being used to go through cell division correctly and maintain our body's homeostasis.
That was actually really interesting. I learned a bunch right there. I probably
you zoned out at the end.
I probably learned it when I was a junior in high school, and I'm relearning it today. But that is very relevant because it was a cancer study done. They had no ambition to connect it to agriculture or anything like that. They were just trying to figure out, why are young people getting colorectal cancer, right? So they took the basically the epigenetic map. So which DNA was not turned on, but which DNA was activated. And they could tell what was going on in the epigenetic zone because of which DNA was activated, right? And so they said they took people over 70 and under 50 that had colorectal cancer, and they basically said, which things don't align? Why are these people getting it before their age? And they came up with a very random to them, probably not that random to us, chemical that was approved in the 1960s for as an herbicide called Picloram. And Kent rightfully asked before we started this podcast, I have no idea what that is. What's the brand name for that? Well, there's a bunch of them. There's a very common one used as a tree killer called Tordon. And they've realized that where there is high Picloram usage, there is this cancer. Now,
that's the first herbicide I ever used in my life.
Really?
I was probably in junior high or high school.
Trying to turn your lemonade blue?
Helping, thankfully no, but helping my grandpa cut down some invasive black locust trees that the NRCS told him he had to get out of his CRP.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people use Tordon. I've used Tordon a couple times in the past probably 18 months. And but so at first they just looked at the data of people over 70 and under 50 and said, okay, it seems to be this random Picloram chemical that's turning that is the difference. Well, then they actually took a map from where people have early onset colorectal cancer and where people use Picloram. Identical flipping maps. Like they mirrored each other, right? And so where there is high use of Picloram, the chances of getting early onset colorectal cancer shoots through the roof. And that is interesting, a little scary. And it should be clear that like colorectal cancer is really, really common for people over 65, 70. That's why they had to separate the two groups, because it's common when you get older. But for the younger people, that's what it was. But here to me is the more important thing is this is a new way of trying to figure out the cause of cancer. And they said, hey, this isn't officially a cause. This is a correlation. This is what it came out as. But what's interesting is that they're using these epigenetics, and then they're able to use that mapping system to figure out what's causing cancer. Because we know it's not all ag practices, but we also know a lot of it's ag practices, right? I mean, we know a lot of it's from smoking or drinking too much or being really overweight, or is it sugar? There food. It talked about actually in there, like one of the main ones is your diet. But they said that they basically were excited about it in their press release because it's a whole new way of studying cancer to find causalities and correlations. And I think that will help us greatly in Iowa figure out what's actually going on. So the three big ones that are in Iowa, causation studies, official documented medical studies with several professional researchers on the list of people who did it. There are three big ones: CAFOs, the Roundup, of course, and then now this Picloram, where it's like very credible. And
I thought atrazine was also in that most recent study they did for Iowa.
It could be. Where I got that information was an article where they interviewed one of the scientists, and they're the ones who said that it goes as the third big correlation for the Midwest in their ag system.
Yeah, maybe it's not atrazine yet officially.
Yeah, the highest percentage or the highest correlation number, right?
And by Roundup you mean glyphosate?
Yes,
because
glyphosate. Yeah.
You go to Roundup. You go to get Roundup now. It's not.
Glyphosate. Yeah, no press release on the fact that they changed that active ingredient.
It's actually an alternative to Tordon.
Really?
So Tordon is really used as a forestry herbicide, which takes me to more questions that I have on this study. But now I was just with a forester a few weeks ago, and she avoids Tordon, and she recommended triclopyr instead. And our friend, I'm going blank on his name, over at Conservation Blueprint, Pete, thank you. Pete Berthelsen recommends triclopyr as well for woody vegetation management.
Riley, you just used Tordon the other day.
Yeah, well,
we hadn't read this at the time.
I wonder. Yeah. I wonder I think a lot of the use of Tordon is just this is what we do. It was popularized, and
I just can't. So for me, I'm not questioning the study at all. I'm just thinking, man, there's just not a lot of Tordon that I'm aware of being used. No one's spraying Tordon that I know of. It's usually direct application in a spot treatment type manner, which is usually the safest way to utilize a herbicide and not have literal downstream effects.
Yeah.
Well, and like when I applied, I was using a drip bottle with gloves at the time. Your actual exposure is almost nothing, unless you're mixing it in your Kool-Aid, like Kent said, or like Nicholas said.
Yeah.
It's pretty spot treated as far as I know, but
yeah, I have, and I can't like research based disagree with you. I would bring up two things. One, my dad always told me, you be really careful with Tordon because nothing grows there for years after it, right? Unlike Roundup. So there's a difference there. And
Judd has said that the half-life on it is like immeasurable.
Oh, probably, yeah. Now, so if there was a brushy area by a creek that you played on as a kid that had lazy Tordon application, back in the day, then who knows? But the other thing I would add is actually the reason Picloram was approved by the EPA. There hasn't been a study on it since 1995 or 1996. And the difference is they used to just like give these chemicals to rats and they'd be like, okay, well, it's been 12 months and there's no growth or anything weird. And they have high exposure to this chemical. But now I don't fully understand it, but they're able to actually like extrapolate data to push time forward on their study in a way where they are now like, actually, there might be, but Picloram hasn't been studied in that way because we hadn't invented that method of researching the chemicals with biological beings in 1995. So I would argue we need to retest it. The EPA needs to retest it, and then the other thing is that it's a long-term thing. So it's not like Roundup where it gets poured down your back like that one guy and he had all those sores, or the glyphosate and he had all those sores.
Or, squirted on your neck and face by a coworker.
Or drive through a field and have it blow all right back on you because you don't have a cab. Yeah. This one is like, I don't know, but it seems like just in general it has a longer life, whether it's in your body or in the ground, and it seems to affect you later. And it seems to more just affect not the DNA, but the epigenetic and the RNA in a way that is a longer lasting, longer term effect on people.
So it's like bioaccumulating, you're saying? Or
well, I don't know if it's bioaccumulating or it just turns something on when you're 30 that you don't experience till you're 42, you know? And that's kind of my understanding, because early onset colorectal cancer, it's considered not early onset, I believe, after 55. So I think people, 30 years before they're 55, they're 25, but that was in the 80s or 90s. And yeah. So, and there's less trees around than there used to be, back to the tree thing. So I did
it say what states were most affected in the study?
Yeah. Iowa, Texas, and California, which are the three, which is where they saw the biggest overlap. North Carolina's on there. I believe Utah was on there as well.
That's so interesting that Iowa would be grouped with California and Texas.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I can see California because California is a huge ag state. I mean, maybe the biggest ag state.
Yeah.
But
I
Texas,
wonder,
Texas, you don't really think of that as, cattle. Yeah. But,
well, but think about fences. If you got shrubs growing in your fences, rows. Maybe those farmers are going down every year spraying Tordon on that stuff. Yeah. That's just me spitballing, but I don't know. That really was like,
Iowa has to be just straight up timber removal for corn acres.
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, because unless in its history it was used as a broadcast herbicide, but I can't imagine that being the case because that ground would
you'd have giant swaths of places that don't grow anything. Then we'd be Western Texas, I don't know, dude. It's just
how lucky for Nick, the 3 states he's lived in since Washington.
I moved out
3
of Washington.
out of those 4 states that he's lived in are on the top 3 on that list.
Yep. So
we always knew he had questionable colon health.
Wait, what's your indicator of my colon health?
The Smurf dome in the office. We'll just say that.
Oh man. Well, I don't know.
I shouldn't joke about that. It is a horrible cancer, and I right off the top of my head, I can think of one person who is no longer living, and I believe she was 43, 44. Picture of health. She I think throughout, maybe she must have been having some problems because when she was diagnosed, it was already like a stage 3, stage 4 diagnosis when she went in, and she fought it really hard for like 4 years, and she passed away. And that was just so shocking to me to see somebody that young and that healthy die from, and she was very careful about her diet. It was just very, very shocking to see.
Yeah.
And it's a deadly cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they were studying this kind of cancer, is because the early onset colorectal, the success rate is very small. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, this is a cancer we should try and get in front of. Yeah. I think, I want to be very clear. Nobody should listen to this and change what they do medically. You should take 2 things from this podcast right now. Advice. Be super careful with chemicals, no matter what's on the label, and make sure at least you know what's on the label. And 2, I think that we're starting to close in on some of these environmental factors. I mean, diet, smoking, drinking, we've known that for years, and those are self-choice things, but spraying chemicals in the air, all over the place, or nitrates in the water, that's not always the person's choice of their health, right? And so we are starting to close in, and maybe it warrants an email or 2 to representatives, or having more conversations about it with your family, or whatever it takes. Maybe spending your money differently at the grocery store. That's what you should take away from this. Not that you need to move away or you'll get colorectal care. We don't know. We're not doctors, as you could tell by our explanation of these medical things. But yeah, it's been a whole ordeal.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that, with big change like what we're hoping for, right? It's got to come in phases, and we're definitely in the thick of the awareness phase right now. We have a reel that's just going bonkers right now on social media because of us talking about that. And the comment section is very eye-opening. Many people weighing in that have cancer or have lost close loved ones to cancer, or have had it and beaten it. One young commenter, I think they said they said they were 32 and that they have terminal cancer right now. And it's we're in that phase of people are becoming aware. They want answers. Yeah. And I am thankful that we're there, and I'm hopeful that we don't become easily pacified with a halfway answer or a distraction.
Yeah.
And one of my fears, after this recent report that was released for the state of Iowa, it listed radon as one of the leading environmental factors for our high cancer rate. And I told Nick, I said, I can see it now. The state is going to subsidize radon mitigation. Yeah. That's what we're going to get out of this. And
because it doesn't cost anyone money to go after radon. Yeah, like it doesn't cost any big company. Yeah,
there's no big radon out there. Yeah. And that will be a pacifier. Like, that's important. Radon mitigation, it would be an important thing, but it would be avoiding an equally bad, if not even worse, contributing factor to not upset the apple cart of those who hold the power.
It would be a mistake to look at one example and go, "Oh, look, guys, it's a Band-Aid solution."
Right.
Yeah.
And the radon hasn't changed, but the percentage of people getting cancer is going up.
Right.
So that
radon's been here for millennia.
Yeah, it seems like that's probably that's a cause for cancer, not the cause for increasing cancer. I feel like that's pretty basic arithmetic, but I'm not making the decision. So,
yeah,
man. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. Don't forget, if you have some questions, the Prairie Farm Forum, great place to be hanging out, theprairiefarm.com. And if you're looking for some native seed, we got you covered.
And I'm going to go I'm going to go look up epigenetics to make sure we don't have to totally cut out that whole section that I just said and redo it. So
it's okay if we do. We appreciate you all, and we will talk to you again next time.